If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Chris Curtis back on the show on Saturday night in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. He became the Z Promotions welterweight champion with a fourth-round TKO via doctor stoppage over Darren Smith Jr. at Fight Nights 12. Chris, congratulations, man. How are you?
Good. I was actually defending my belt. I was already a welterweight champion. I was defending it.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I know you fought for them many times before. I didn't know with you going to the PFL or whatever you had to vacate the title or anything like that.
No, it's cool. No, they told me to hold on to my belts. They said, they weren't going to take them. It was like, give them up when you're ready. So that was cool. But it was good, man. It was great. I feel good. Life rolls on. So here we are.
Yeah, I have to say, honestly, that if you told me on October 12th that 3 months later you and I would be talking about defending your title or even coming off of a fight 3 months later, I probably wouldn't have believed you, Chris, but here we are.
Yeah, man, it's been a weird ride. It really has been a weird ride. But what else am I gonna do? I've given up so much to get this far, and last year was a rough year, but here we are.
So you were a part, and I'm sure everybody knows this by now, of maybe the most wild night in the history of the PFL, in the short history of the promotion, because you had that fight with Magomed Karamov. You fought him for the second time. You lost a decision. You announced your retirement. And then moments later, we find out that you're fighting Ray Cooper III later on in the same night, which is a fight you've wanted the entire time since you signed with the PFL. That fight doesn't go your way, and you retire again. So, I just laid out a whole bunch of craziness right there, because we got, and basically, throughout the night, we got reports from the back that you were making this decision to fight Ray. But walk us through the moments from the decision loss to the rest of the night.
It sucked, man. So after the Magomed fight, man, I've done everything I can do, and I lose this guy twice. And it kills me too, because I see him struggling, and I always feel like I never have enough time to beat Magomed. And he couldn't continue. I was perfectly fine. Didn't take an ounce of damage. Perfectly fine. He's in the back dying. So he can't continue, whatever. But after the fight, I get back there, just my feelings are hurt. I go through that freak out of I failed, I shit the bed on the biggest opportunity of my life. You go through all of that and you're freaking out. And I was just angry. I was upset. And then about, you go through all those emotions, and then talking to my coaches, talking to my corner, and I start calming down. I come down. At one point I'm in tears, I'm so hurt, so disappointed with myself, and I'm in fucking tears. And time goes on. You kind of start accepting it, and it's terrible, but you're this is what it is, and it's over. Shot's over. So you go from the adrenaline to the fight to just world crushingly distraught to where you got inconsolable, and then you start kind of coming out of it, and you're okay, I can't change it. So you start accepting it. So I reached the point to where I'm it is what it is. I still got my family, everything. So you had really high, then you're really low, and I get dressed finally. I go away. I'm going out there. I'm going to get food, actually. I haven't eaten in hours. I'm starving. I just want food. I'm an emotional eater. I just want fucking food. So I go out to the food they've got. I got a plate full of chicken and waffle sliders and all this stuff. And I'm going to take my first bite, walking back to my room to go, talk to my corner and everybody. And Ray Sefo comes out. He's you got to go back out. And I'm what are you talking about, Ray? Did you not just see that I lost? And he's you're on in 5. Magomed can't continue. So I've got a plate full of food. I'm in my jeans and my shirt. And I'm just what do you mean? He's he can't continue. He's in the back, just all messed up. He's he can't continue. You're out. You're going out in 5. So they're dragging me to the back room. I've got to get changed again. I'm already changed out of my stuff. Got to bring me new clothes and everything. So we're getting dressed. I'm throwing new stuff on. Like they're trying to wrap my hands really fast. I'm trying to find my mouthpiece. I don't know where anything is. Like it's the weirdest feeling, man, because like I feel like I'm just like asleep, and like everything's happening so fast. And 5 minutes later, I'm dressed, hands wrapped, and like we're making the walk out. And I just remember, like, my coach is like John's trying to get me focused, and I'm just like not checking in at the moment. Like my body is just not responding. Like we had that up and down, and then that everything else. So like I'm not there. Like we're trying to like hit mitts for like 30 seconds before we walk out in the tunnel. We're like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And we get out there, and it's just, man, I'm trying to like pump myself up, and I just feel like it is all just way too much right now. Like I don't know what's happening. I'm not warm. There's not an ounce of sweat on me. So we go out there, round one, we touch gloves. I touched him the first two shots I hit him with, like one stunned him, one dropped him to a knee. And like, it's funny, if you watch the video, you just see me kind of not respond. I'm just kind of like watching, like, wait, what? Like, what's happening? Like I dropped the guy to a knee off like the shot. It doesn't even register. I'm just like, what is happening right now? And then it all goes bad from there.
Is there any hesitation from you and your team to even get back in there? Like, I know there's $1 million prize potentially, and you're already there. Why not jump back in? Who the hell knows what'll happen? Maybe you'll end up being a millionaire at the end of this thing, despite losing earlier in the night. Was there any hesitation because you were sort of out of your fight gear? You had a plate full of food in front of you. You already made this decision that you were done. Was there any hesitation at all?
No, man. I just did it because you can't let the opportunity go by. And we just did it. Yeah, no one. It never once came up that like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, it's to the point to where I couldn't find my mouthpiece. Sean Strickland takes his extra mouthpiece he had in his bag, his mouthpiece, and he boils it again. His practice mouthpiece, he reboils it in a cup of coffee and gives it to me. And like, we're just like, go. Like, there was no thought of like, oh, don't do this. We were just like, like you can't pass it up. And it was a fight that I wanted all year. So like, I guess the part of me, I was like, okay, like this is a good matchup for me. Less than ideal circumstances, but a good matchup. It's just, you can't fight when you're asleep. You can't fight when you're not awake. So it's just one of those things to where I couldn't put it together. I couldn't get myself out of that into the right mind frame fast enough.
How would you compare that night to the night after the Contender Series fight? Because I know you had announced your retirement after that as well. I think anybody who watched that fight still feels like you got snubbed in that situation. I know we addressed this before, but did that night feel any differently than the Contender Series night?
Just more soul-crushingly. It's more soul-crushing, different type of soul-crushing this time, to where, Contenders is I succeeded, mission complete, and still failed. PFL was maybe stung a little bit more because I actually failed. And especially in the realm of fighting, I've grown used to not failing. And it sucks to go out there and like, I don't think people really realize like when you've been trying to be great at something for so long, or not just like, oh, I want to fight, but when you've dedicated your entire life, your entire adulthood and so much time and sacrifice to be great at something, I don't think people realize how weird it is to fail when like there's so many expectations of you. When, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm not like, John Smith, who's got three, who's going to fight in his hometown. Everybody's like, you're going to be great, John. Like, no, we're at a different level to where people are, I've reached a point where people are like, you should be at a certain level, you should be accomplishing certain things, and like to not succeed is hard. And it's not just like, oh, you're sad. It's like you've sacrificed years of time away from family and everything else, and like, loved ones and money and status and life, and like to come up short it's the worst feeling in the world. I've told somebody before, only people who don't know what haven't been expected to be great don't understand how much failure hurts. I'm like, God, it's so bad.
I wouldn't say fail. I mean, you think you failed. I don't think your career to this point has been a failure at all. I think, you're one of those guys that, everyone feels is like one of the big UFC mistakes and mishaps, especially with the Contender series. But was there a part of you that, hey, was there a part of you that's with the decision to retire and everything? And I know the pain of losing and the heartbreak of everything was a lot to do with that. But with the grind and everything you've had to deal with over the years, was the love for the sport always still there? Like, did that ever go away?
I've always loved fighting, man. Like, since I was freaking, a little kid on the playground, all I wanted to do was fight. Like, I remember I always laugh and tell guys. I remember, like in third grade when everybody starts playing football and play on the run. At recess, I'm still running around playing Power Rangers and Street Fighter by myself. Like, all I've ever wanted to do was fight. I love fighting, man. I love the sport. And like, I don't think I've ever really lost my love of the sport, but it's so hard to do this, man. Like, guys don't get it. Like, I moved to Vegas last year for the tournament. So I was already going before. I was back and forth between California and Cincinnati, because I was training in Cali at Team Quest, Cincinnati, going back home to see my son and my family and everything. And that was already hard, man. I was gone half the year, home half the year, like in spurts. It was rough. It was terrible. It was hard on everybody. And then I moved to Vegas later. I moved to Vegas in early January to get ready for this tournament. And that was just, the last straw. Like, I've been away from my kid for months at this point. I've only been able to see him for like a week at a time when I go back home and bring him out because, with your camp schedule, you can't really stay out of the gym because I have to, you got another fight in a few weeks. Moving took me away from my son full time, which sucks. Like, I'm not even like going home as much as I was. My fiance actually and I split up. And this is a girl I've been seeing on and off since we were 12 years old. And, so it's like we actually our engagement ended last year as well. And it costs a lot. So I don't think it's so much as losing love of your sport, man. It becomes a really, really heavy price to pay.
Fighting's tough enough. And then life throws their curveballs at you too. And it's just like, man, how do we mix this all together?
I tell people, man, like people ask, oh, you want to fight? I was like, stop this. I was like, don't get married, don't have kids, don't get in a relationship because, fighting's hard on you. Yeah. The aches and pains, everything, but fighting's always harder for the people. The people you love it's way harder for them. They've got to watch you, they've got to watch you hurt. They've got to watch you starve. They've got to watch you leave every day. They've got to watch you go away for training and everything else. It's always, they kind of have to accept that they're getting put on the back burner a lot because you can't half-ass fight. You can't play, and you don't play fighting. So they always have to watch you give it your all to do this. And it's always harder for the people you love.
So after this win on Saturday, we're still carrying on, right? We're moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just kind of soldiering on, man. I really want to roll back at the tournament. And I guess I don't want that to be like the end of me, especially because I lost on a fight that I should have. Like, I promise you, 9 out of 10. I need to fight Ray with like a real fight. Like, we didn't fight. You legally sucker punched me. Hats off to Ray though. I love Ray. I was rooting for him in the finals and everything else. I was there. I was rooting for him. So I'm glad he won it, but I do not like. It's an emotional sucker punch, so like I'll get it back, and I want to run that back and see who's better, at the end of the day.
So you'll be back in the tournament this year, right?
We're hoping. So we haven't finished talking to him yet about everything, but I'm really hoping it pans out because I really want to get that one back. Magomed and I spoke a while ago. We said we'll demand opposite ends of the bracket, but we're done fighting each other for like non-title fights. We're both over it. And, this year, the season, the field is way, way more brutal than it was. We've got a lot of good auditions. You've got the Nikolay Russian kid who's really good. I've known about him for a while. We're supposed to fight a few times. You got Rory McDonald popping in there. They keep dropping more and more people in there. So the field this year is going to be sick. So I want to be a part of that.
How did it feel after everything that's happened to just get back in there and fight on Saturday? I mean, it's a promotion you fought for many times before, like we discussed. I'm sure there was a level of comfort there. Did it just feel right? Like when you got into the cage and started sort of warming up and bouncing around there, did it feel right? Like you're like, yeah, I'm glad I continued on here.
Oh man, everything felt right until the fight actually started. Then everything felt really wrong really fast. And I was like, man, so like you're making the walk and everything, warming up, you feel great. Everything feels great. You know, most of your aches and pains you feel normally in camp are gone. I'm like, yeah. Then the fight started, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot how to fight. And like, it was really, it was definitely took me a little bit of time to get comfortable to where the first like round or two, if you watch, I'm just like not feeling it. I'm like, oh my god, like I watched the video, it doesn't look as bad as I remember in my head. In my head, I'm just like, oh my god, like this feels awful. And you know, it's my first time as a professional coming back off of a losing streak and a knockout. So like, you know, all my coaches are like, you know, you're gonna feel a little weird, you're gonna be a little bit hesitant and just unsure. And they're just like, you know, relax, go out there, everything will fall into place and you'll feel better. And by the time the third round rolled around, I'm starting to feel better. Like I'm feeling like me, like everything's coming together. I'm making sense. So felt great. Then it felt terrible. And then I kind of got back to where I wanted to be.
So the ideal situation here is getting the PFL. Let's do this thing again. Let's do this the right way. And, you know, that's the ideal scenario for 2020, correct?
Yeah, I would love to run it back. I'm starting to make a lot more of strides with my team out here. You know, I moved to Syndicate out here. I'm with John Wood. Definitely had a bit of a learning curve for me because, you know, it's gotten this far in a career a certain way. So it's learning new stuff and having to be broken down again. Is, you know, you're coachable, but change is always hard. But like, I'm starting to feel better. Like everything's coming together. You know, we're letting me be a more aggressive but well-rounded fighter instead of just relying on certain things, which would have helped me a lot this year. So I'm learning to listen better. We kind of found our stride. We're meshing really well. So, you know, I'm deciding to sit back and listen and be coachable and just trust my coaches. So I want to give it a fair shot.
Can you describe the atmosphere of the Syndicate MMA Christmas party? Because I saw on Instagram things were getting a little crazy. Off the rails, I believe, was the exact quote that you said. What was that party like?
It is. So anytime we have a get together, things always get off the rails because this is such a crazy group of individuals. And at the Christmas party was just what happens when there's like open bar and no one has a fight coming up and everyone just lost it. It was God, hopefully there's no more evidence out there because people made questionable decisions. But it was, like there's, at one point there's a guy eating a 5-pound jar. We actually had a really big money pool going. Brandon Jenkins was eating like a 5-pound jar of baked beans that he got for the White Elephant gift exchange. It's a 5-pound box of like a thing of baked beans. And John's like, I'll give you $100 to eat that. And then I was like, I'll throw 100 in. Then people started throwing money in. So this was like a $700 pot for him to eat a 5-pound jar. But it was, and that was like the tamest thing that happened. And then once the bar got, the alcohol came out, everything went to hell really fast. It's a really good hell, but everything went to hell fast.
Unbelievable. What do you want to say to everyone that's sort of stuck by you through all of this craziness? I mean, it seems like you have a great support system. I think one of those pieces of support is right next to you right now. What does this all mean to you? What do you want to say to all those people?
Yeah, this is the Jessie. Say hi, Jessie.
Hi, Jessie.
Yeah, she's like, you slept in and you didn't get me food, so give me 1 second, all right? You have to say thank you to those people, man. Like, there's not much more you can say than thank you because even the people that haven't stuck by you the entire time, like people that helped me get, even the people that aren't here, like, the people that were there and they helped me for a long time, they've helped me get to a different place than where I was. And, with with a job like this, you have to realize that not everyone's going to make it to the end with you. Like, not everyone is designed for that. It's not always their fault, man. A lot of these things that have gone wrong, I've done to myself. And, you can't be mad at anybody. All you can really say is, like, for everyone here still, I love you guys and I appreciate it. To everyone who's not here still and who helped me on the way. And, we got people who, passed away, people who decided that, their happiness needs to come first as well. I appreciate everything that you've done to help me get to this point, because I couldn't have done it on my own. And I don't care who you are. Like, this isn't a sport you can do on your own. Like, you need friends, you need support, you need love, you need people to kind of carry you when you can't walk yourself. So to everyone that carried me, I thank you.
Congratulations on the win, Chris. I know you got some things going on. I'll let you go, but what a story you have, and this would be a great 30 for 30 someday, and it's a story that's going to continue on throughout 2020. All the best to you. Congrats on the win again, and we look forward to seeing what's next for you, hopefully in the PFL this summer.
I appreciate it, guys. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come. So I'll talk to you guys, sure. In a little bit, I'm sure. So thank you guys.